what we're saying. I need your help. I don't ask for much on Facebook. I don't ask for much really in general, except from, a couple people in my life. But, oh, there it goes. See? And that's why we have a producer, because I'm not smart enough to fix it. Okay. Help us grow. Do me a favor. Each of you just tell 2 or 3 of your friends, start a Facebook watch party, do something, share the video. Just share the video to your personal page. I'd really appreciate it. As soon as I have money coming in over here, I will send you I'll send you each $1. How's that? Up to 100 people. How's that? Up to 5 people. But I'll pretend I sent the rest of you $1 and I'll send you a thank you note. How's that? We could do that. I can afford the stamp. I think it's 30 cents now? Is it? How much does a stamp cost now? Does anybody mail anything anymore? I do everything online, including purchasing food. People complain about like picking up food at the grocery store. I think that it's really an amazing convenience to be able to order groceries online, and not just groceries, household items as well. Go to the grocery store, sit in your car outside, and have them bring them to you. Now, for me as a chef, there are 2 things I don't like to order online. Produce of any sort and the meat, protein. Unless it's frozen, I don't want to order it online. I want to see it, inspect it, make sure that the color matches the date, that kind of a thing. And on produce, I'm very, very, very particular with produce. Oftentimes, I'll tell you how particular I am. If I'm doing a party for someone, even if it's not something that they're paying for, they'll say, "Oh, just give me the shopping list and I'll go buy it for you." I'm like, no, I don't think so. It's okay. I'll go do it. Well, no, chef, let me save you time. No, really. Because if you get the wrong product, I'm going to tell you got the wrong product, and then I'm going to feel bad. Your feelings are going to be hurt. I'm going to feel like a jerk. So I'm very particular about the produce that I order or that I buy. All that said, you can do almost anything online. Okay? It's very convenient. So now that Facebook live feed is up, please go and share the video. Just share it to your homepage. It's really cool. Just go to Spoony Radio on Facebook. Share it to your homepage. That's it, or your business page if you can. I would really appreciate it. All right, enough of the groveling here today. Did you know one of the most iconic sandwiches in American history? It is, well, of course, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Who doesn't like peanut butter and jelly as a kid, unless, of course, you're allergic to peanuts, which I could see how that could happen. But today is actually National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. And not just peanut butter and jelly, it's PB&J, the sandwich. But I didn't realize how far back peanut butter goes. That we've been celebrating just this day, the National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, since 2000. But apparently, since back in the early 1900s, as far back as 1896, there was an article in Good Housekeeping. I didn't realize that magazine went back that long. Is it even still around? But I think it is. There was an article that urged homemakers to use a meat grinder to make peanut butter and spread the results on cornbread. That same year in June, the culinary magazine Table Talk, which I've never heard of, but I'm going to look that up because I really want to try and get a few of issues of that Table Talk magazine. They published a peanut butter sandwich recipe, and they think that that's the first one that was ever published as far as peanut butter. But not long after that, in 1901, Julia Davis Chandler, that's right, the infamous Julia Davis Chandler. She's thought to be the first one to reference peanut butter paired with jelly on bread, and that was in 1901. Since the 1920s, in the late 1920s, the price of peanut butter went way up. I mean, it was up until the 1920s. In the late 1920s, it came back down, and therefore, it just became a household thing. I find it fascinating, the history of food, where things start. I mean, what made them think of grinding it up in the first place? Why would you? Who put peanuts in a coffee grinder? And by coffee, the coffee grinder was not like the machine we have now. That was a little hand crank thing. Almost everybody's grandparents or somebody in the family had one on a coffee table somewhere or on a side table. It's got a little churn on top with these metal gears. You throw the beans on top, and then it's got a drawer in the bottom that you pull the grounds out of. Who thought about putting peanuts in there? I'll bet it was a kid. We have an 8-year-old, maybe a 5-year-old child to thank for peanut butter. I'll bet that one holiday, I'll bet it was Christmas time. They had the peanuts on the table. The kid grabbed a handful of peanuts. He saw grandma's chock full of nuts, coffee grinder over there. Threw a handful in, made sure no one was looking. Next thing you know, had peanut butter. You know what? I'm going to stick to that story. What was his name? It was a girl. It was a girl, a mischievous little girl. I can't think of a name right now. Y'all think of something. Anyway, there's all sorts of crazy recipes with peanut butter and jelly. I really like stuffed French toast with peanut butter and jelly. If you haven't had stuffed French toast, it's basically 2 pieces of French toast with whatever you want between them, and then it's battered and fried together. It's pretty darn good. It's really good when you have something like pecans and maple. Oh, yeah. What if you did like a maple spread? All right. Get back off the French toast. Let's go back to the recipes for peanut butter and jelly. So there's recipes for peanut butter and jelly cupcakes. I mean, that's obviously not in the dough, in the batter, right? All right, I got to check that one out. Peanut butter and jelly French toast, of course, stuffed French toast. Peanut butter and jelly pie. All right, I got to look that one up. Peanut butter and jelly sushi. All right, I'm going to come back to that one in a minute because I'm a little pissed off about that. Peanut butter and jelly cookies. Okay, that's fine. Peanut butter and jelly donuts, of course. Peanut butter and jelly pancakes. Yeah, whatever. Peanut butter and jelly fudge. Now, I've had peanut butter fudge, but I've never had peanut butter and jelly fudge. That one, I'm going to have to look up. Okay, peanut butter and jelly sushi. Before I get too irate, I'm going to look this up just to make sure. Peanut butter, because if it's what I think it is, somebody's really discussing. Peanut butter and jelly sushi. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Well, I can't get irate about that. That's like something really cute you do for children. Basically, you cut the crust off the bread, take a rolling pin, roll it out flat, put your peanut butter on there, put your jelly on there, roll it up into a roll, like a jelly roll, and then cut it into pieces like sushi. Okay, well, that's not really as offensive as I thought it was going to be. That's too bad. I really want to be irate about something. Let's see. The peanut butter and jelly pie. All right. We have a listener, Summy Shuck. Summy is trying to, I think he just came back from, there's a big pie baking competition every year, I think in Orlando or Tampa. He's going to correct me. I know he's going to correct me. But he goes to Florida every year. It's typically in March. And he goes down there and he competes. And he does just amazing stuff. He brought this custard-filled pie with a chocolate, it was like chocolate ganache on top. It was that rich, but it was brittle, like tempered chocolate. So it had rehardened after he poured it on the top. Unbelievable. And he was complaining because he had just used a store-bought kind of graham cracker crust on that one, which it actually went very well with it. But the cake the pie he's actually making, the crust he makes is a sponge. So if you've ever worked a sponge, that's just a type of it's a method that you use to make the batter for a cake. And so he bakes it flat and it puffs, it rises up. That's what sponge cake does. And then while it's still warm, he molds it into the baking dish. So it takes the shape, trims it, lets it cool, puts the filling in, and then either bakes it or whatever he has to do. But he's working on a peanut butter and jelly pie. And I need to find out how that worked out. He had it down. He didn't have enough jelly, so he made everything from scratch. When you go to these competitions, you basically bring in all raw ingredients or whole ingredients and start from scratch. Now, you're making jelly. The peanut butter, I guess if you have a grinder, that wouldn't be a problem. But so you're making jelly from scratch. You have to make the crust from scratch, which he makes as a sponge cake. Then you have to make the filling. I mean, you only have a couple of hours to do this, so I'm curious how it worked out. Anyway, I haven't talked to him since he came back. Happy birthday, by the way, Summy. I'm sorry I wasn't around to celebrate, but happy birthday. How old are you? Like 29 again? I think he's 29 again. All right. Back to peanut butter and jelly. Pancakes, fudge. Oh, peanut butter and jelly fudge. That's what we need to know. Peanut butter and jelly fudge. All right, I'm gonna take a guess before I look it up. Peanut butter fudge, maybe with like a no, you wouldn't put a jelly. You wouldn't put a jelly on top of it. It's just not going to work. It's not going to work. So what if you put it in? What if you swirl it into it? Let's see. I think you swirl it in. Peanut butter and jelly fudge. Yeah, well, there's a couple. One of them has 2 layers. Basically, you have the peanut butter fudge, and then there's a layer of jelly. So basically, they filled the pan halfway with the fudge while it was still molten. Don't pour it on your hands. And then they put the jelly on top of that. Then they poured the other half on top of the jelly and made kind of a layered peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Haha. But I like this one better. There's one of peanut butter and jelly fudge. This is basically, yeah. So this one, there's big pockets of jelly in this, or jam. If you've never made fudge before, it's a tricky little booger if you don't make it very often. If you get it too hot, it basically turns to, well, it does one of 2 things. It crystallizes, so the sugar becomes, the fudge is granular, really kind of has little chunks of sugar in it. Or if you cook it a little further than that, then it hardens too much. You can't really cut it. And if it's too soft, it never really hardens. So just make sure you use a candy thermometer. But if you've never made fudge before, it's pretty simple. The ingredients are basically sugar, butter, evaporated milk, peanut butter. Now, when you make peanut butter fudge, you use marshmallow cream. At least I do. And then vanilla extract and jam or jelly, whatever flavor you want. So it's you take a 9x9 baking dish. Basically, you line it with aluminum foil or whatever you want. Or I don't usually line it with foil. I take a nonstick 9x9 and just spray it. So you take the butter, sugar, and evaporated milk, and you put them in a saucepan over high heat. They don't all call for evaporated milk, but that's actually, I think that's the best recipe. You stir constantly until the sugar and butter are melted and the mixture is smooth. And then you insert the candy thermometer. This is key. You can't guess on this one. Now, they used to teach us in culinary school that you could drop a little, just a little a drop off the spoon of the fudge or whatever the candy mixture you were making into a bowl of cold water. And based on the texture, basically the hardness and feel of what happened when it fell in the bowl, that little clump, then you knew what temperature it was at. And even though I use a candy thermometer when I make candies, fudge, or any other kind of candy now, I actually still use the bowl anyway because I want to know what the texture is going to be when it's finished. So anyway, you put in the candy thermometer, and you so this is over medium high heat. Continue cooking until it reaches a full boil. And then you continue to cook, stirring constantly until the candy reaches 200, and this is very important, 235 degrees. You can go a little over, don't go under, but don't go very much over because it's going to, and when you're getting close to 235, reduce the heat because it's going to keep rising. All right, so then you take the pan off the heat, you immediately stir in the peanut butter, vanilla, and marshmallow, and just stir it till it's combined. It should be one smooth, kind of pale peanut butter color, basically. And then you pour the fudge into the prepared pan. So you just pour it in, let it start to cool. Now, before it sets, and it doesn't take too long, then you take spoonfuls of jam or jelly and you put them all over the surface of the pan of fudge. And then you take a table knife and you drag it through to create a marbled effect. So there you go. See, they're making swirls basically. Now, what they're saying is dollops of jam or jelly, like every inch or two, over the top of the fudge, and then you take a knife and you drag it through, but don't drag it through as if you were cutting something. Drag it through sideways because you want to basically make a crease that the jelly falls into, and then that way it gets incorporated into the fudge. And you have this kind of pocket of ooey goodness right there inside the fudge. All right, so allow the fudge to set at room temperature for 2 hours overnight. Once set, no one can wait that long. 2 hours or overnight. You're going to try it and burn your tongue. Everybody does that. Why don't you just say, take the one bite because you're going to do it anyway and burn your tongue, and then allow the rest to set up at room temperature for at least 2 hours or overnight, and then cut into small pieces and serve. Typically, I store fudge in a airtight plastic Tupperware container that's probably as old as I am. Just what I have left of my mom's stuff. Man, there are so many good candies to be made with peanut butter. Peanut honey toffee with peanut honey toffee sounds good. Peanut butter, I think, is, I think we kind of take it for granted. It's such a staple in American households. Did you know that the average American, by the time they graduate high school, will have eaten over 2,000 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches? The average American, that's just a cross section right there. 2,000. So what, 365 days a year, if you have, we'll say one every 10 days, right? We'll say 35, 36, 40. We'll say it's 40 a year. 40 a year, that's 2,000. If you have 40 a year for 50 years, dang, that's a lot of peanut butter and jelly. I want to find out how much that is. I want to find out what's the average amount of peanut butter on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then calculate out over 2,000 sandwiches, how much peanut butter does one person eat just on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches alone, the average person, over the course of their lifetime. Not course of their lifetime. That's not even 50 years. I'm sorry. That's childhood to high school. All right, so childhood to high school, you figure, 18? So we'll say you can't eat peanut butter when you're really young because you might have allergies. They don't give, and just other problems. So figure what, 3? We'll say 2. So you have 16 years. All right, I can't do math that quickly, folks. I'm going to have to get a calculator. 16. All right, so we have 16 years, and we have 2,000 sandwiches. That's 125 sandwiches a year. That's almost one peanut butter. That's one peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's not even every 3 days. That's like 2.5 days. Is it 3 days? Between 125, 370. Yeah, so just under every 3 days. So the average person in the United States has one peanut butter and jelly sandwich every 3 days from birth to high school graduation. That's astounding. Okay, we need to vary up the diet a little bit. As much as I love peanut butter, I eat a lot. I probably eat like one of the medium-sized containers just myself here at the studios. No, every week or week and a half. I eat it on bananas, on bagels. I eat it on protein bars. Yes, I do. You know what? It's really good on graham crackers if you've never had that. Anyway, National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Who'd have thought it? Again, why? I'm not sure who, but they don't even know who created this day, National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. Anyway, I thought that might be amusing. I amused myself. It's also National Ferret Day. I like ferrets. Ferrets are cool. They don't taste very good, though. They're kind of bony. All right, it's Tuesday. Not a lot going on today. We have some food news. I'll expand upon a couple of ideas. I have a couple more recipes. Tomorrow, though, is Wind Down Wednesday, so we will have Laura Geen will be on tomorrow. I have another call in tomorrow, and I may have a third call tomorrow if we're really lucky. But yeah, we'll see. Jeffrey Klein, my business partner in the consulting side of the business, he's working on some really big things in LA and Vegas. He's been on the road for about a week now, and he has a couple updates that I want to share a little bit about what I do on the side outside of Spoony Radio, so you get a little snapshot, a peek through the window of what is my world outside of this world. Anyway, hey, we got a few seconds left. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. Please join us for the next... appetizer done. Time for the main... No, not main course. Next is amuse-bouche. Come back for the amuse-bouche. I'll be right back.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @FoodBizPro.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called RiduZone, RIDUZone.com, RIDUZone.com. It's Brad's worked. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to RiduZone.com and try today. You're going to love it. RiduZone.com. Remember that, RIDUZone.com.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's DIA Thrive.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
And yes, I have to unmute the mic to talk. Yes, once again, same thing every day, Patrick. It's the same thing every day. Gosh. But hey, in food news, if you're curious, I know you haven't been there in a while because, you know, I don't go to Applebee's anymore. Do you go to Applebee's anymore? I don't. But if you do happen to want to go there, or maybe this will entice you to go, Applebee's is now serving strawberry margaritas all of April for $1. But you know what? They have a special straw. They're using, it's got a Twizzler straw. Really? Come on. You're serving, okay. It's nice that they're selling margaritas for $1. It really is. And they're strawberry margaritas at that. But do you need to entice adults 21 and older with a Twizzler straw to get them to come in and buy a margarita? I don't think so. Just do a margarita happy hour every day. I mean, really? I don't get it. I mean, how are they making their money back on this? Here's the point I'm getting at. I go to restaurants all the time and they have these promotions, right? I don't know, buy one, get one free, children eat free on Wednesdays, as long as you order one adult meal, blah, blah, blah. That's all fine and dandy. Those at least have some sort of tie-in. But I'm not sure why. What is this about? It's all right. So I'm going to read this to you. Applebee's debuts a new neighborhood drink each month. Yes, we know that. And April is a strawberry. And in April, it's a strawberry margarita with a Twizzler straw for the low price of $1. You simply cannot afford to drink 5. That's just not to drink 5. Yes, you can afford not to drink 5 because if you drink 5, it's really expensive. It's like $20,000 when you get the DUI. So just drink 1 or 2 or 3, 2. Okay. That's just economics or accounting. It's definitely math anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes. The beverage with which you will soon be so soon acquainted contains tequila, strawberry, and margarita mix, which is served on the rocks. And we can't resist this enough. Oh, we can't stress this enough. It comes with a Twizzler garnish straw. All right, so how are they making money on this and why? The only way is if they somehow tied up with Twizzlers and Twizzlers is paying them money. It makes absolutely no sense to me that you're going to sell a margarita for $1, right? You probably got 80 cents in cost in there. So it's a lost leader for something. If they're that hard up for cash, they're that strapped, this is not the promotion to do it. Put all your well drinks across the board at $2 wells, 4 to 7. It'd be much more effective in drawing people in instead of people that just want a strawberry margarita. I'm just not sure how they're trying to monetize this. Look, if you own a business, especially a food service business or a food and beverage business, the margins are typically small. I mean, really small. The average restaurant makes 7% gross profit a year. 7% gross. That means that's before paying taxes. So that's $1 million. You know, if you say you do $1 million in sales, your hamburger, it's a Doc's House of Flapjacks, and we sold $1,000 in flapjacks this year and hubcaps. Then, all right, or I mean $1 million. Then you would have $70,000 in gross profit. But on average, they net, right? The clean profit, put in your pocket in the bank, pay your bills is $40,000, $40,000. So yeah, granted, this is a chain. They have better costs, the purchasing power. They've been around a long time. They're lean. They're fairly lean. Anyway, they're starting to get that way after they took off half their menu, finally. But why are they doing a $1 promotion? I know they have this weekly drink, which is fine. But I'm not sure that they needed. I think the big thing that's confusing to me is this Twizzler thing. And don't get me wrong, I like Twizzlers. I like the licorice, and I like the red non-licorice, pretend to be red licorice thing, right? I like them. They're good. I like the fact that they're kind of, really kind of, they get a little bit stale. They have this real bite to them. You have to really chew them. But then as they soften up, it gets kind of waxy and it gets sweeter. I like them. I like them when they're fresh too, and they're really soft and they're really sweet from the beginning. But they don't belong in a margarita. And that's not a way to get adults to come in. If you're trying to entice 6-year-olds and 10-year-olds to come in and have a margarita, you give them a free Twizzler. It makes no sense. I like the idea that they're doing a new drink, right, every month. That's cool. I think you debut that, you work that magic, but you don't need to add candy into it. I mean, it's bad enough if you're going to have alcohol. I mean, if you're a teetotaler or if you just lead a healthful lifestyle, but now you have to add candy on top of that to entice adults into your store. I just don't get it. Anyway, you don't need a gimmick to monetize things, folks. You need a good product, good solid service, and consistency. You don't need a gimmick. So what this tells me is they're really struggling. That's the whole point. When I read this, I didn't even read the article. I just saw the headline. And I knew immediately that they're fishing for profits. They're just dying to do anything in the world to get people in. And Twizzler somehow is supposed to be the golden egg, the gold. What is it? Golden ring? The ring that everybody. Did you ever do that on merry-go-round? Merry-go-round, right? Yeah, merry-go-round. Where you stand up on the horse and you try to reach out and get the ring. I think by the time I was on a merry-go-round, they didn't have the ring anymore. I'm sure there were liability issues and all sorts of lawsuits. But that is not the prize. That is not how you get people into your store. Quality food, quality service, and consistency. All at a good price. Not cheap, a good price. All right? This is not rocket science. Food service is like any other business, but I think most people see it as a social experiment. I talk to, I don't know, when I'm in a restaurant, I talk to hundreds of people a week, sometimes more than that, literally. Everybody seems to think, all right, let me back up. As I speak to them, I always ask, yeah, have you ever thought about owning a restaurant? I don't even usually have to ask that. They typically say, oh, man, I thought about having a restaurant one time. I always wanted a restaurant. I thought I'd open a bar one time. Man, I think it'd be really cool to own a bar. I want one too. No, it's just like any other business. Except, you know what? The hours of operation are typically longer and the profits typically lower. Now, there are some fallacies to the common beliefs about restaurants in America. That the failure rate is higher than all other businesses. That's not true. As a matter of fact, insurance brokerages close at the same rate, almost identical in the first 2 years, almost the exact same rate as restaurants. Not to mention the garages. Repairs, car repairs, ones that start up on their own within the first 2 years, same failure rate. So it's not that the business of restaurants is more difficult than other businesses. It's the logistic of operating a restaurant that is the only business I've ever heard of where you not only acquire the raw materials, produce a product, like manufacture a product to order, sell the product, and then the product is consumed on site. I don't know any other industry where you construct, sell, service, and consume a product on site. If you can think of one, let me know. And I'm not looking at Facebook, by the way, so I will go over here and try. Oh, thanks. John, somebody, the John Daly meme was funny. Oh, John Daly, he's really funny. Anyway, I talk about this all the time. You know what? I really want one of my first clients to come on here. Ryan McFadden and what is his wife's name? Sonia. Ryan and Sonia McFadden. They're in Saratoga Springs, New York. They have a wonderful place called Henry Street Tap Room, and next door, I think they just did it's like their stepsister. It's a pizza place, Henry Street Tap Room Pizza. I don't know. I'll look it up in a minute, but they've done a wonderful job. As a matter of fact, in their first year of operation, they were like $75,000 ahead of projected earnings. I didn't have to do a lot to consult with them. I didn't. I mean, I had to do some due diligence, and their kitchen was a little quirky because they didn't have the menu when they built the kitchen. They just kind of put the standard equipment in. It didn't really work for the menu they wanted to do, but they worked. They made it. They managed it, and they're just really hardworking people, and they were not going to fail. But Stephen L says couldn't pay me enough to run a restaurant. Stephen, amen. Although I've often worked in restaurants for little or no pay, and I still ran them. There's something about serving other people. I like restaurants. I love seeing families come in and seeing a smile on the face when people leave. Whether it's one person or 10 people or 50 people in a party, there's a sense of accomplishment and of service, true service, when people come in and enjoy the experience and leave with a lasting memory. Really, think about how many important memories of your family did not involve a meal or at least a holiday where you all sat down and broke bread. I can't think of many. All right, so Ryan Ford asks, are we talking crunchy or creamy? That'll be a factor as well. All right, Ryan, actually, I liked crunchy when I was a kid. And now, for some reason, I'm not a texture guy. Like, texture doesn't bother me. It's not that. It's just, I think it's unnecessary. For me, crunchy doesn't enhance the flavor. Yes, it adds crunch, but it doesn't elevate the dish, right? So now I like creamy. Skippy or Jiffy? Peter Pan. Sorry. Sean Sheeler. Rusty Lugnuts loves peanut butter and jelly. Really? Rusty. I did not know that. Huh. Sean, how you doing today? Thanks for listening. It's... The restaurant business is a business that requires just as much attention, skill, perseverance, intestinal fortitude, and blood, sweat, and tears as any other business. It really does. And here's the key. And I've talked about this before too. If you're gonna open a restaurant, it's a real commitment, and you have to really know your numbers. You have to know them before you open. Now, excuse me, these are projections, of course. We don't know what your numbers are going to be. You can estimate, especially if you have any experience in the restaurant business, or if you opened one before, or just in business in general. It's just like anything else. You have to project your sales, what your costs are going to be, so on and so forth. Because you know what? If you're in the drywall business, and it's the exact same example I use every time. You know why I use it? Because I used to do drywall with my friend Carl Van Leuven. Man, I started... Geez, that was like junior high when we started doing that. We used to go in Arizona, everything's stucco on the outside, most of it, not all of it. Some brick homes. But then on the inside, everything's like this spray-on, not everything, 90% of everything is a spray-on texture, right? So we had to go in, and in the summertime, when they spray the walls, they take plastic and they put it over all the windows and doors, and it would be like a sauna in there. But we'd have to go in, and we have to scrape all the stuff off the floor. That was my job, scraping the texture, which is just drywall mud. It's drywall putty. I have to scrape that off the floor and clean the whole house out. That was our job. So and then I moved up the ladder to basically cleaning the equipment, and then we moved up the ladder to putting tape on the walls to hold the joints together. And then we got to finish the joints and make them pretty and smooth. And then you start to do texture. And by that time, basically you're 22 years old, your body's broken, your wrists hurt, and all that kind of stuff. So I moved on to restaurants. Although I'd been working in restaurants pretty much that whole time. So again, so say that you do drywall. Let's say you don't do drywall. Let's say that you're drywall. I got to do drywall because I can't think of another mobile operation where you could be pet grooming. Pet grooming, all right? So you groom pets, dogs, cats, gerbils, I don't care. You groom pets for a living. And so you're an apprentice pet groomer. There you go. Pat's pet grooming apprenticeship. Yeah, they're a program. We need a bunch of P's in there. Pat's pet grooming apprenticeship program. No, it doesn't work. It's got to be food related. Anyway, so it doesn't matter what your business is, but you start out as an apprentice, and then you start doing jobs on your own. So you're like a journeyman apprentice. Then eventually you start doing side jobs. This happens with every industry. It happened with me in cooking. As soon as I was in my second or third restaurant, I was like, hey, I can make this food. I can do a couple of parties. And you start making $500 for 2 days worth of work instead of $400 for a whole week's worth, right? I have 40 or 50 hours, $400 paycheck if you're lucky. Or I could make that on the weekends. And now, granted, you usually can't do it on the weekends because that's when you're working 20 hours a day, but you figure it out. You do 2 or 3 parties your first year, maybe 4, and then you start adding those in. So that's what you do. You go out on your own eventually, and now, it's Pat's Catering Company. There you go. So Pat's Catering Company now has 15 trucks, 150 employees, and we're doing, 3, 4, 5 million a year? About 4 million a year, I think. That'd be about right. So we're doing 4 million a year in sales, but what happens? The economy crashes. Trump mistweets something. I don't know. There's some sort of big spat between Trump, Obama and I don't know, Idi Amin. Idi Amin comes back from the dead and eats somebody else's minister of defense, not his own, like he did last time. So the world economy crashes momentarily, right? It doesn't really crash. But we have another, we'll call it a beige Monday. It's not a black Monday. We have a beige Monday, right? So everybody stops, doing catering. Now, not everyone, but 80% of your clients. Okay, so what do? You scale back. You sell off the trucks. You sell off some of the equipment. You keep what you have. If anything that's paid for, you can keep in case you want to scale up later. You let most of your employees go. Sorry, I'm really sorry. I'd love to feed your family, but I got to feed mine first because otherwise I can't re-employ you next time around, when the economy gets better. So you sell it off. You downsize, right? You scale back and you start working more and you stop paying other people to work for you and you bust your hat. You bust your butt, and you make it happen. You scale back. You go back to being a one-man show or a one-girl show or a one-person show. Sorry, one-woman show. Not girl. So now let's take the restaurant scenario. I have a 3,000 square foot storefront, right? Brick and mortar storefront. The rent is $8,000 a month. And for a lot of cities, like in Aspen, you're talking like 5,000, 4,000 square feet. Like 30 to 40 grand a month. Think about that. 30 to 40 grand a month. That's just the rent. That's just the rent. So we're going to say it's 8. So you have $8,000. Now you have 12 employees that it takes to run the restaurant. So you've got, you have 2 hostesses, 1 day and night. And when it's slow, you cover yourself as the general manager, owner, and chief cook and bottle washer. So, but you're not actually washing bottles or cooking because you're running the restaurant. So you have to pay other people to do that. So, look, your payroll ends up being, I don't know, 8 grand, probably 7 grand a month. Maybe a little, it's going to be more than that actually. So anyway, but by the time you get done looking at all this, your total cost of running a restaurant under normal conditions, say is, if rent cannot in the restaurant magic restaurant formula, rent cannot exceed 10%. If you reach 10% on a full service restaurant, you're dead. Now, can some places do it because they have an extremely profitable product? Absolutely. Most cannot. Unless you're selling something like pizza and a whole lot of them, then you're not going to survive. So anyway, say that's your rent's $8 grand, then it's going to cost you approximately, on the high end, $80 grand a month to run your restaurant. Okay, that's just an easy way to figure it out. Now, the whole Trump tweets out something mysterious. Obama gets a hold of it. I don't know. Kim Jong-un decides that he's going to launch a missile, but that's not deadly. It's going to infect some sort of mold that lives in the ground that is now going to infect the romaine lettuce that we can't eat. So now the restaurant's got out of business because everybody wants to eat a Caesar salad every Tuesday. We can't serve it. So we're going out of business. We got to close or we have to scale back. Here's the issue. You have a fixed overhead of at least $8,000. That's an empty shell of a restaurant. No food, no employees, no plates, no customers, no nothing. No lights on. That's $8 grand. So maybe you can scale back by even 50%. You can cut back electricity 50%. You can cut back the menu, which is going to, of course, no more people are going to come in, right? If you cut back the menu, scale it back by not just deleting items that are not selling, but you're deleting core menu items, like some regular items that people love that are your mainstays, then you're losing more business. So even if you cut all that back and say you can operate at 50% cost, at 100% efficiency, you're still looking at $40,000 a month. Now, how do you do that? Unless you take all your savings, everything, and put it towards that. It's virtually impossible. So that's the thing. If you don't know your numbers in the restaurant industry, there's no margin for error. There's not. I can't tell you how many restaurants I've worked with, like as they're getting ready to open, they call me and they say, hey, Chef Patrick, we talked about 6 months ago. We thought about bringing you in to consult. Remember we were doing the numbers, the whole ideation to open thing that you talked about. Well, we got we got a logo. We're good. We got the logo. We got the menus. Yeah, we're about ready to open, but we're running out of money. Do you think you could find us money? No, I can't find you money. No. Now, if you have a bunch of money left in your bank and you're going to pay me to help find you money, then absolutely. But most people by that time, They don't have any money left. By the time they call me, they're broke. Restaurants, unless it's like a food truck, right? Or it could be a catering company. It could be something small, a small production company that you do like a cottage industry, type. You're going to make mixed berry pies and you sell them all over the country, Well, actually, what's her name did that? She and Auntie Bourdain had the big spat. Oh, man, come on. What is her name? Somebody's going to tell me, see, if I put this out there, I keep you engaged. Y'all, tell me what the name is. Do you remember? Paula Deen? Remember? You know the story? Her husband left her 2 sons. She made pies. They walked around the neighborhood, sold them. She got famous. Boom. Food Network star. She did have to scale back because there was a scandal. But, she didn't have to scale back then. She got to Food Network by making pies and having a good story. She's a hell of a good cook. Especially with the real true Southern cooking she used to do. Now it's all, she was pre-diabetic, and she's lost 80 pounds. Yes, she looks good. She's going to live forever. But man, that food was really good. There's nothing that compares to real butter, buttermilk, bacon grease. You think, if there's a dish you can, all right, butter, bacon grease, bacon, chocolate, what else can it cook? Foie gras. Oh, I can make something with that. All right. Butter. I'm going to write these down. Foie gras. Yeah, I know. It's cruel to feed the... I'm talking about the idea of the restaurant. I'm not going to make it, okay? Bacon grease, bacon. All right, we'll just put bacon in general, and then chocolate. Oh, yeah, dude, I can make an ice cream out of that. That would be badass. Anyway, back to the story. In restaurants, you can't scale back enough to be a one-person show. You can't. It's logistically and physically impossible. You can't be the dishwasher, the cook, the hostess, the general manager, or any manager, and the server unless you run a single window operation like that poor little lady is she in Singapore or China? The one that got the Michelin star, now she's closing because she hates it so much? Oh, we'll get into that in a little while. Michelin has hurt more restaurants than they have helped. And I always wanted a Michelin star. I don't know if I had the talent for it. Maybe. I don't know if I had the drive for it. Man, I don't know if I'm willing to literally kill myself to get a Michelin star. But, I've worked for some places that earned their Michelin star while I was there. A couple I worked at before and after. But you can't scale back. You can't. Back to the original point, Patrick. Back to the original point. You can't scale the restaurant back far enough to operate on your own. Not unless it's a popcorn cart. Like they have one in Aspen, actually. It's really good. Yeah, I forgot about that. A popcorn wagon. It's not a scalable business like that. And then the reverse is true. You have a great restaurant and you're gonna grow it, right? You're gonna open a second location. So what happens? You scout you've been around for 18 years, 19 years, 20 years. You scout for a new location and you find it's in this brand new fancy strip mall, right? Okay, so it's not quite the shape you want. You got to put a little money into it because they're not going to build it to suit completely. You have to pay for the hood, which is typically a hood is at least $1,000 a linear foot. It's usually $2,000. So if you have a 16-foot hood, it's about $30,000. By hood, it's the ventilation system that. It's got kind of a built-in baffle system that traps the grease and other grime so it doesn't get in the flue, that chase that runs up through the building or out the side of the building to vent outside. That thing that you always smell the McDonald's fries through every time you drive by a McDonald's you're 3 miles away, you still smell it. That thing. So that alone is approximately installed $2,000 a linear foot. So depending on how much equipment you have, you need that length of equipment plus 1 foot on either end because it has to have a minimum of 12-inch clearance on either end. So yeah, it's expensive. A really short hood is 8 feet. That's $16,000 cash out of your pocket just to put the hood in. That's not the cooking equipment in the kitchen. Nothing. That's just the hood. It's crazy to me to think how many people get into the restaurant game just because they've always wanted to have a restaurant. I think it's bold. It's bold. It's ballsy, right? And there are success stories. Ryan and Sonia in Saratoga, they've done really well. He was an attorney. Sonia, I should know what you do or what you did. I'm sorry. But as a matter of fact, he went to U of A. I went to ASU. That's how I remember. Boo, Wildcats. Sorry. So you can be successful. Matter of fact, you know what? I wanted to set a trend. I know another attorney who opened up a really cool, I think it's called the Cook's School in Denver. It's on the 16th Street Walking Mall, and it's an Italian cooking school. This guy was an attorney, very successful attorney. He decided to turn into an entrepreneur in a different way, and he in a different venue, completely different field. He opened the Cook School, and this Cook School is basically an 18-month or 2-year program through all of the cuisines, the regional cuisines of Italy, and at the end it culminates in, I think it's a 2-week or a 1-month trip. And some people stay longer. Some of the students stay longer to do their externship. But basically, they travel around Europe or Italy. Italy? All right. That sounded like Sergeant Hoka from Stripes. Italy. Welcome to Italy, boys. Anyway, they travel around for at least 2 weeks. I think it's 4 or 6 weeks, and some stay for another 6 weeks for their externship. So it's a fantastic program, and they are wildly successful. Now that I'm saying that, I haven't looked in a couple of years, so they may not be in business anymore. But if he's alive, they're in business. I can tell you that right now. Fantastic program, great school. As a matter of fact, when I was working on opening a new culinary school in Houston with a couple of icons down there. One was Fritz Gitchner. Fritz is the only master chef in Houston. By the way, Henry Bryan, I was right, because our other French friend he's a master French chef. So there's a difference. He's a master of the French cuisine. So Fritz Gitchner, he's the only master chef in Houston. Boy, man, that guy can do it all. That's the pinnacle in this industry, master chef. So it was he a guy named what's his name? Man, he's originally from Ruggles. There's Ruggles Green, Ruggles Black. He wasn't part of that. That was just the chef partner. But Manfred Yakmik. Manfred is with B&B Butcher, I believe. If you've not been to B&B Butcher, there's one here in Dallas. It is unbelievable. It's not just it's a butcher shop with a restaurant, and it's a nice restaurant. The food is unbelievable. I have not been to the one here. I've been to the one in Houston. If you get a chance, as a matter of fact, I'm going to look up where B&B Butcher is. But anyway, there's them. Michelle, I forgot Michelle's last name. She was an instructor. She actually ran the French Culinary. What is it? The French Culinary Institute in San Antonio or Austin. The one that they closed. Le Cordon Bleu. They're all closed now in the United States, of course. But and B Butcher. All right. So we were actually putting together a culinary school. We're going to open one up because we knew that there was an underserved population for that trade, specifically people coming out of the military that did not get funding for non-traditional trade schools and things like that. And don't correct me on that. We did our research, and there were specific niches that didn't get it. But we ended up not doing it. Funding was kind of difficult. We couldn't find the right space, but we actually took the curriculum from the chef school in Denver. The guy had done such a great job, and the cook school. I'm going to look it up in a minute, but it was fantastic. It was so awesome. They had such great curriculum. As a matter of fact, I was already 20-something years, 26 years into my career. I wanted to go back to school and go through that curriculum. Anyway, B&B Butchers is right here in Fort Worth. Oh, wow. That's not far. It's at 5212 Marathon Avenue, which looks like it's at Marathon, and I don't know. I can't tell. I'll let you know later. I'll post it. Anyway, I guarantee if you go, it'll be worth it. Again, come on back. We're going to talk food, restaurants. I'll give them a little more insight into why this is not the easiest. It's not the hardest business in the world. Okay, maybe the hardest business in the world. It's not the most expensive business in the world. No, banks are more expensive though.
This is the only 24-hour Take Anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Republicans continue to question Democrats' plans to investigate White House security clearances.
Ohio's Jim Jordan complaining Republicans on the Oversight Committee were given only a few hours' notice to hear testimony from a whistleblower.
You pick a Saturday on a week we're not even in session and tell us the day before.
I will protect whistleblowers, period.
Chairman Elijah Cummings.
She was scared to death, and she was afraid, sadly, of our Republican colleagues.
That whistleblower testified that White House officials reversed recommendations to deny security clearances for dozens of individuals.
Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines reporting. The Senate voting this afternoon on a resolution to streamline the approval process for most presidential nominees.
Senator John Thune says Democrats are slow-walking all Trump nominees.
They are setting a terrible precedent.
One likely to affect all future administrations.
If Democrats' behavior over the past 2 years becomes the norm.
And he says the Blunt-Langford resolution would streamline the process only for lower-level appointees, not
positions like cabinet officials and Supreme Court justices.
Democrats complained that streamlining the process would make it too easy for President Trump to fill the courts with conservative judges. Bob Agnew, Capitol Hill.
Also on townhall.com, World Trade Organization Director General Roberto Azevedo says a no-deal Brexit would fundamentally alter the terms of trade between the EU and Britain.
A no-deal would change the trade relationship between the UK and the EU significantly. The impact of that, I suppose only the UK and the European economists at this point in time would be in a position to actually assess.
WTO Director General Roberto Azevedo. And fire officials in Crosby, Texas say one person is unaccounted for, 2 people injured after a fire at the Houston area chemical plant. More of these stories at townhall.com.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
Funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone. RADUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com. RIDUzone.com.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
Well, apparently I've touched a couple hot buttons today. People are like, you're on. People are like, you're off today. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm talking about the food business. I'm the Food Biz Pro, Chef Patrick Mosher, better known as just Pat to a few friends of mine. I don't let very many people call me Pat, by the way. My mother used to get upset. We didn't name you Pat. We named you Patrick. It's funny because I remember her calling me Pat. I have, my oldest sister calls me Pat. My youngest sister calls me Pat. My brother, no, not really. He calls me Patrick. So does my middle sister. But pretty much everybody else calls me Patrick. Greg Patterson, you can get away with it once in a while. Yeah, Carl Van Leuven, you can get away with it. So these are guys that I met like in 6th grade. I've been friends my entire life. A few other people, guys I went to high school with. But that's pretty much it. Everybody calls me Patrick. Couple of things. Oh, I'm on the wrong. Am I on the wrong page? There it goes. Looking for comments here. I lost a couple of them, but I said peanut butter, jelly, and banana. Someone had mentioned that it's actually it was a grilled peanut butter, banana, peanut butter, jelly, and banana. That sounds even better. It's really good. Is like I think I mentioned it before, but you take the little Nutella with marshmallow fluff spread, and either toast that or cook it in a panini press. Damn, that's good. But again, it's a conversation or monologue. Kinsey, I'm not sure. It's going on in my head right here. The gears are spinning. And by the way, Kinsey Richards, that's funny. You sent in some really good questions that I'm going to address a little bit later in the bottom half of this hour. You talked about cutting down costs on feeding a household, so we'll go into that a little bit. Now, somebody had a question that was, let's see, 13 comments. It's right here somewhere. Show up for me. Come on. I want to see all of them. Why does it only show me like 4 of the 13? I hate that. Come on, Facebook, fix your stuff. It's not that hard. Steve is like, I'm more of a talker than a listener, so it works for me. So funny. Oh, I'm glad you guys are listening. I think. So somebody had said, what did they say? Oh, is there a leaner? Okay, that's what it was. Somebody had asked, is there a more lean restaurant model than Waffle House? And I have to think about that. Is there a leaner restaurant model than Waffle House? It's a small footprint, so cost to construct is very low. There's not a lot of equipment, nor a lot of prep. I mean, they're cracking eggs to order. They're cracking eggs to order. You've got bacon, which they cook. There's no oven necessary in the back. It's not like they're cooking stuff. They're not batch cooking anything. So you're cooking everything to order. That's true short order cooking right there. It's amazing how good some of those cooks are. It's amazing how bad some of them are as well. But depending on which city and which Waffle House, it's a mixed bag. The food's good. Usually, I don't know. I don't go to Waffle House too much anymore, a few times a year. But is there a leaner design, a leaner concept than Waffle House? I got to think. Based on the size, design, the limited amount of equipment, the very limited amount of cold storage you need, under counter refrigeration, the limited number of staff. I mean, you only need 2, maybe 3 servers. You've got 2 people behind the counter, maybe 1 serving the counter. You got the cook. There's never more than 1 cook because the lead for the shift lead pretty much helps anytime they get in trouble or make sure that they see the orders that are coming up. I don't think, I can't think of a specific concept that's more lean than that. Not that it's a chain. So to answer your question, in short, no, I don't think so. I don't think that there is one. If you can think of one, tell me. Now, we're taking food trucks that do a single item. We're taking that out of the mix. The lemonade truck at the fair, that doesn't count. The ones that do the funnel cakes, they don't count. That's a single item. It's a mobile, it's a mobile unit, and they're not working 365 days a year out of that truck. Well, you can't because you have downtime, engine trouble, repairs, all that kind of stuff. Something is always going to happen that you're going to miss a day. But now, as far as a freestanding brick and mortar restaurant, come on, there's got to be something. Pizza may just have it beat. Yeah. So actually, now that I think about it, like the small little Pizza Hut and Domino's places, they're not dine-in. Those are more efficient. Now, they're not dine-in, though. But even if you had dine-in there, you could limit the seating to 20 or 30, not serve any beverages, but stuff in a can and the 2 liters you want to take home. That would be a little more efficient. And the only reason I say that, I don't know if I don't know. Cost of breakfast is pretty low. It's really low. I'm wondering what a case of eggs is going for now. It's like, is 8 dozen? I think it's 8 dozen. So yeah, look, figure it's $2 a dozen, right? So you're looking at less than 22 cents an egg. So you have 2 eggs, that's 50, we'll say 50 cents. 2 eggs, you have a couple of strips of bacon, another, we'll say $8.75, 80 cents, about 40 cents a piece. All right, so now you've got $1.30 on a plate, right? $1.30. All right, $1.30. Now you add an English muffin or some sort of toast. What do you 15 cents a slice? So you're gonna 30 cents. You're at $1.60. Condiments are another 50 cents. So you're at $2.12. That's probably a well, Waffle House is pretty inexpensive, I have to say. Other places like Denny's are much more expensive, but say it's $2.12. So your cost on that's probably 20, 30. It can't be that cheap, really, if you think it, because their price is going to be around $6. That's 30% food cost. That's national average. The average food cost in a restaurant is 33%. Every dollar you sell, it's 33 cents in cost of food. All right. Man, this table's squeaky. Let's see if I can tighten it while we're talking. All right. That's about as tight as that base is going. All right. So really, they're right on average as far as food cost goes, because breakfast, you can't charge too much for breakfast. People see it as the least expensive meal of the day, and they know eggs, bacon, and bread is cheap. They do. That's why they go for breakfast. I don't know the stats anymore. I think people probably dine out. I don't know. I don't know a statistic, folks. Uh-oh. I'm admitting fallibility here. I need to find out now. Oh, by the way, I did post a link to the B&B Butcher in Fort Worth. Man, if you have the chance to go. I know there's one here. There's one in Houston. They're the only two I know of, but they may have other locations. What meal period do Americans eat out most? I want your guesses, folks. So go ahead and comment. Out most. I'm going to write it down. All right. All right. Is there even an answer for it? What meal period do Americans eat out most often? Or frequently? Let's see if that comes up. One or the other. Come on. I know my spelling's bad, but geez, come on. It's predictive. Most frequently. All right. I'm going to say it's lunch. Yep. That's not right, though. It's dinner. It's a longer meal period. Typically, you do about twice the number of covers at dinner than lunch. I'd like to say it's lunch, but it's not. And that's why the most expensive restaurants don't even serve lunch. If you think about it, think about all the really fancy restaurants you've been to over the years. How many of them serve breakfast and lunch? Seriously. How many of them serve brunch even on Sunday? How many Michelin star restaurants serve lunch? That's a good question. I'd like to know that. I'd like to know the answer to that question. And I don't think any, or very, very few. Couple of reasons. If you're doing breakfast only, much like donuts or, look, Waffle House, yeah, they get busy late at night. They're busy in the morning, but the morning, they can be busy at lunch. The morning is their bread and butter. And they have other food items, other menu items that they serve to accommodate the lunch and dinner crowds, right? They have BLTs. They have other food on the menu, not just breakfast anymore. So they only do that because they know they can't get away with it. And anyway, it's dinner. I guarantee it's dinner. We probably eat out at dinner more than twice as often, on average, Americans. Probably more than twice as often as we dine out for lunch or breakfast. Or at least we dine out for dinner as much as lunch and breakfast combined. Most people don't have time to dine out for breakfast. That's a weekend thing for us now. It's culturally a weekend thing. We tend to be time crunched, and where do we take that time from? Where do we add that in? Breakfast. Right? We don't want to waste that time. We don't want to apportion that to something else because that kind of sets the pace for the whole day. So that's sacred. We can't take that. So lunch you typically have a short meal period. This is one of the only countries where so many people go and dine out every day. Now, it may seem like in Japan, I lived in Japan, and it's a very, very crowded country. When I mean crowded, they have a very dense population. You want to, yes. How dense was it? Okay. It was as if you took, they're roughly half the population of the United States, and about half the population of the U.S. lives west of the Mississippi, about half lives east. So if you took all the people west of the Mississippi and you shoved them into California, Oregon, and half of Washington State, that would be how crowded Japan is. Yeah, pretty damn crowded, huh? And what's crazy is most of the people live in extremely densely populated areas, cities, and they have a vast amount of open countryside. I mean, by comparison to a country you would think with that population and of that small size. I found it fascinating. But they go out to lunch, and a lot of them go out to lunch, but it's still not the majority. Most people, at least I would say 40 to 50%, take their lunch to work because you just don't have time. And same here. We eat out at lunch. Look, I have not been all over Southeast Asia. I've not been through most of Scandinavia. I've not been all over the world. I didn't spend significant time in China. I don't know. I really don't. But I would venture an educated guess. Yeah, I know I'm being goofy, but I really, as an educated guess, I would assume that we probably dine out on average for lunch longer, spend more, and more frequently than almost every other culture. Matter of fact, in certain parts of Scandinavia, I mean, it's lunch, even in Germany, lunch, typically your typical lunch is sustenance. It's not a celebration of food. You know, it's a roll, Speck, which is the German, the black, like, it's not a German version of, it's a smoked version of prosciutto. And whatever other little, you have coffee and whatever, something, maybe a beer. If you work in a Volkswagen factory, right? Their number one part sold in the entire company is a sausage. Yeah, it's a sausage. Yes, because they actually have a part number in their purchasing system. That's a sausage. Now, I don't know why. This is Pat using Doug's account. Oh, hey, Pat, how are you? Waffle House hash browns trashed. Oh, yeah. There you go. Hey, Pat, explain what is trashed. So Pat Gummier, she says, this is Pat using her husband Doug's account because I see Doug's face up there and I'm like that. Why does it say Pat on there? Waffle House's hash browns trashed. That's the best. Let's see. Travis Watkins. I know you don't like to get political, but I can't imagine what a border shutdown will do to produce costs. Can't be good for restaurants. Actually, so, that's a good question. Sean Sheeler, I like peanut butter and bratwurst. Dude, come on, man. You're embarrassing our hometown. I love you, brother, but come on. Peanut butter and bratwurst? Okay, now you know what? I actually there's some German sausages in there. They're the kind that come in the big glass container called Knäckwurst. Knäckwurst are like crunchy sausage. They actually say crispy in English on the outside. They have a really crispy casing. It's a natural casing, not the synthetic crap that we hear. Anyway, Sean, come on, you're embarrassing me. You can't like peanut butter and bratwurst. That's just wrong, dude. It's wrong. I'm sorry. I'm going to call you out. As much fun as it was being on your show off the rails the other night on Sunday, it's wrong. So anyway, hi, Holly. She's saying hi to the other Pat. I'm sorry. Jeez, man. I can't even get my hello and goodbyes right. Oh, Sean Sheeler. Yes. No. Sorry, butter. Sorry, brother. It's not right. So it's funny. I talked about this in the air with Doc one time. In Germany, they had these, when they first started building cafeterias for their the workers at the VW plants, they didn't want to run out of the sauce. They used to make them, and then they had to set up factories off-site because they started selling so many sausages at lunch. I mean, this is like their manufacturing plants, the part stamping plants, the assembly plants, all of it. They had these cafes at every plant, and if you know anything about VW, they're large. VW, Porsche, Lamborghini, they own a bunch of other brands, right? And they're very large. But the number one selling part in their system across all vehicles is that, I don't know what the part number is, but it's for that sausage that they serve only at their lunches, and you can't get them anywhere. You can only get them in the VW plants. It's ridiculous. People try to get them. People try to order them. There's the devious plots over the years to try and get their hands on some, and it's just funny. It's really funny. Oh, hi, Holly. There you go. Now you said hi, Patrick Mosher. Yeah. Oh, Sean's crying. I'm sorry. He's laughing at me. Sean, try it. I can't, dude. I can't put peanut butter on a sauce. I can't. Sorry. I'm not going to do it. Can't make me. I'll put some good mustard on there. I'll pretend it's peanut butter and I'll say I liked it tomorrow. That's what we'll do. All right. So anyway, the number one part sold in all Volkswagen plants is that one. Okay. It's not really a part, but it's how they count them. But back to that. Yeah, I can't think of any pizza. So we're back at pizza. Pizza or Waffle House. Waffle House has a really lean. It's a lean machine. They have 4 people typically working, maybe a 5th when they're super busy. Limited seating. What do they have? 20. I think seating capacity is typically under 30. It might be at 30. 1, 2, 3. They typically have 4 booths, 3 2-tops. They have 6 at the counter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. It's about 30 max, right? And again, the low necessity or lack of necessity for refrigerated storage. It's cheap and inexpensive, but their cost is high. Pizza's better, right? So if you have a pizza place, even if you have one that's a dine-in, like a Brothers Pizza in Houston, they have Brothers Pizzas up here too. Think about it. You charge $12 for a pie, right? A medium pie, medium pizza. Sorry, I forgot we're in Texas. So what do you got? You got basically 1.5 cups, 2 cups of flour. You got some water, free. So we're going to go high. We're going to say that the flour costs 80 cents, which actually, if you're importing from Italy, is probably about 80 cents, right? Now you've got the sauce is typically a 1/2 cup, could be 3/4. So we'll say 75 to 80 cents, all right? And that's if you make it from scratch. If you buy it, it's probably 40 cents. We'll say it's 70 cents. All right. Now you've got toppings. You figure even on the expensive stuff like pepperoni, you're only putting a couple of ounces on there. So you're going to end up with, somewhere in the $6 a pound. So, 6 divided by 16 divided by, what do you got? 30, 40, 45, 50 cents maybe? 50 cents. The cheese, probably another 45. And we'll say another 50 cents in toppings, right? So we're going to add this up because I can't think fast enough today to add it up my brain. We got 80. Somebody's already got it added up, I know. Shush, people. 50 plus 45 plus 50. So $2.95. All right, so you got $2.95 for like a $12 pie. It's probably going to be less than that. Average pizza cost on a medium pizza is probably somewhere in the $2.50 range, maybe a little less. We'll say it's $2.90. We'll round up to $3. You have a 25% cost on food. 25% versus 33% at Waffle House, which is real expensive for a breakfast place. I mean, it's high as far as cost. But they do a huge volume, and with that, they probably get huge. They have to have a lot of purchasing power as well. But even this is not a chain. This is not like Pizza Hut. This is not Domino's. This is not Papa John's, Papa Murphy's, whatever. This is a standard, standalone, one-off mom-and-pop pizza place. The Brooklyn boys moved to Chicago, or no, okay, moved to Indiana. No, not there either. They moved to Houston, or they would come to Dallas, like Big Joe's, right? Big Joe's Pizza, all around. They had one location. Now they have like that 12. I don't know. They have a bunch. They've been here about 20 years. A bunch of guys from Brooklyn, or the Bronx, actually. Sorry. Bronx. Excellent pizza. Really good pizza. It could be Brooklyn. I don't know. It's really good, though. They're funny. I tried to pay for pizza yesterday on the phone. One of our partners, Tom, was going to stop by and pick pizza up on the way back because it was about it was not quite 4:30. We have our weekly board meeting on not BORED, BOARD meeting, board meeting. And then so we never eat at our meetings, and we typically tip a beer or two. But Tom and I get tired of not eating dinner at dinner time. So he grabbed pizza on the way back. He said, if you order it, I'll pick it up. I said, no problem. So I tried to order it. I ordered it, and he's just like, all right, 15 minutes, man. Click. I couldn't even pay. That's pretty trusting. Plus, I have a feeling there's a whole family of Big Joes out there just waiting to hunt you down if you don't pay for it. Anyway, peanut butter on brat, get a little caramelization. No, dude, come on. You're killing me. No, Pat. No. Sorry. Okay. Officially not sure. Okay. So I had asked Pat what she meant by, I hate it. It doesn't show you all the comments at once. I need to see them all of them, all. View all. There's not even an option now to see all of the comments. Facebook's getting harder and harder to use every day. Huh. Too bad we don't have our own platform. Oh, wait. Our sister platform, our sister station is going to have their own platform, their own video stream, live, straight stream, 12 hours a day on their channel. And I'm sure we'll go that direction too, because it's getting really frustrating. But so Pat was saying officially she doesn't know, but it had meat, eggs, veggies, hot sauce, etc. I think that was Animal or Wild or whatever. I don't know what it was called, but Animal. That's what they do with the burger at or the fries. Is it the burger? I think it's the burger at In-N-Out Burger. I still don't remember what it is, but yeah. Still, back to the problem at hand. So now you have food cost of 25% for pizza, and somewhere around 32%, maybe 30 to 32% on the Waffle House. Okay, so that's not too bad. But look, pizza. All right, with pizza, if you're only doing pizza, maybe if you have calzones, whatever, strombolis, it's all the same method, right? And strombolis are pre-made. That's even quicker. You just cut that thing and throw it in there and heat it up. And maybe you do pastas. So now you need two people in the kitchen, one making pizzas, one doing the other stuff. That's it. 2 personas. Now, you still have one extra kitchen person as opposed to Waffle House. But as far as service goes, there's basically you tell people their pie is done or you take it to the table. What are you doing? You're getting drinks. That's it. There's no more service to the table. No more refills on coffee. There's not. You may have to fill a Coke or two, or if you have beer. But you don't have to do. You don't have to go back to the table very often. Yeah, especially if you have a soda machine on the side. But here's another thing. Most pizza places have alcohol. That's a moneymaker. The cost is somewhere between 7 and 15%, depending on what what you're selling, and if you water it down. I'm joking, come on. But no, seriously. So if you sell alcohol, you typically make much. I mean, your profits typically, on average, 2 percentage points to 3 percentage points higher than if you don't sell alcohol. So now you went from a 25 to 30 margin. So we're going to say now it's 22 to 30. Now 8%. That's a significant gap, right? Here's the other thing: the average sale per person. We know that medium pizza is supposed to feed 4, but it doesn't. It typically feeds 2. Or if you're a fat, hungry chef like me, okay, I'm a little less fat than I used to be, but I'm still out of shape and a little domesticated. It usually feeds me with another half meal or a late night snack, right? And we're not talking a big $24 New York style pizza, big one. Nope, sorry, whoever's calling from Houston, I'm on the air. We're talking the regular medium $12, local restaurant. And it even could be a chain because the prices are going to be similar. So I'd have to say it's not necessarily leaner, but as far as profit goes, pizza. Oh, wait, it was only pizza. Our poor children, they don't even remember when Little Caesar said pizza. Now it's all hot and ready or hot and fresh. Hot and ready, what the hell does that mean? It wasn't hot and ready. It was pizza. You order one, you get one for free. Who doesn't want something for free? Who cares about hot and ready? It's free. And it was hot and ready. It was delivered. I don't know. No, it wasn't delivered. You always had to pick it up, didn't you? I don't think they ever delivered. All right, hey, we are through the third course, the amuse-bouche. The party in your mouth is over. Stay tuned. Dessert's next. I'm not sure we'll talk about dessert, but the last course is coming up. Chef Patrick Mosher, Food Biz Pro. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @FoodBizPro. Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. Call right now. That number again is 800-245-0823.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Well, if you're watching today on Facebook Live, you may have noticed a few times today. I take a drink and I probably acted a little bit surprised. I keep thinking I put Gatorade in here. I keep thinking it's water, and every time I go to take a sip, I'm like, oh, that's not what I expected. But yes, not water. But unfortunately, not wine either. So we'll stick to the Gatorade. It's even 0 calorie. Well, nope, not that one. All right. So we were just talking pizza over waffles. Sorry, but from a profit perspective, pizza wins. I'm sorry. You need more people to do the waffles. I think overall, because Waffle House is full service and they don't have alcohol. And I think pizza wins. Sorry. My bad. All right. So, he said dessert. I heard ice cream. Yeah. No, not sure we're having, I don't know if we're doing dessert today, but I'm actually going to address, it's funny because Kinsey's the one that said this. I'm going to address your concerns, Kinsey. One of the hardest things to do out there is feeding a family of 2, let alone 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. And a while back, I think it was 2001. 2001? Yeah. A friend of mine, Dr. Stephen Hollingshead, he has a PhD from religious philosophy from Marquette University. He got it at the tender age of 26. This is a man who ran for the state Senate and turned 25, which was the legal age he could run at it was 1 week before the election. He didn't win, but it's a great story, and Stephen's got this very interesting storied history. Well, when I first moved to Houston, of course, I didn't have a job. I didn't know Houston at all. And he hired me. He had a company he had just started called BringDinnerHome.com. So everything was a .com back then. This was the golden era of the .com boom. And he had BringDinnerHome.com. It was really the first home meal delivery service where you could order foods that you did the finished cooking at home. Everything was cleaned, portioned, packaged, and shipped to you. But we did it daily, and we drove it to you. It's the first business I can think of that was a home meal delivery service, like Blue Apron, which I think is also based out of Dallas, or any of the other ones. I mean, there are 50 or 60 of them now. My sister was telling me about one in upstate New York that's local to Saratoga Springs, and they just service that region. Anyway, and some of these are fantastic. Now, the large scale businesses have not made money. As a matter of fact, Blue Apron has not had one quarter since they've been open. I think it's like 6 years now. They have not had a single quarter where they made money. Not one. Why, do you ask? Well, firsthand, because our business was a very similar model, hand packing all the products so that they don't get damaged during shipping, because this is not cooked, so the produce can't get bruised. That's tedious, and it's very time consuming, and the packaging is expensive. The labor involved in packaging, preparing the produce, separating, acquiring the produce, inspecting the produce and the proteins, trimming, trimming, packaging, sealing, it's all very time consuming. It's very labor intensive. And then on top of that, even at market price, It's a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more. If you did the calculation, it's slightly more expensive to a little more expensive, right? To order the ingredients that way than to buy them to buy them, just at the store. A little, but you got to think you also get the recipes. It's all trimmed, clean. It's what we used to call at bringdinnerhome.com. I got excited. At bringdinnerhome.com, we shop, chop, and drop. All you do is cook. That was it. We did your shopping, we chopping, slicing, dicing. You had to do nothing but open the containers, cook, throw away what you threw away, clean up the 1 or 2 pans you used to cook, and your plates. That was it for a meal. All right, so here's the issue with what we had to deal with. It really had nothing to do with packaging. It was time consuming, but we had a good price point. And I want to talk about feeding families because that was the whole idea behind this to begin with. Stephen Hollingshead's very, very philanthropic. He has a very large family, and he wanted to, reverse something that we'll talk about in a minute, how McDonald's had turned dining into feeding, right? Not McDonald's mistake. It's not their fault. As Simon Sinek, it's not their fault. Simon Sinek was not their fault. They were just dealt a bad hand. Through no fault of their own, BS. Children, Simon Sinek, I love you, man. One of the smartest men on the planet. Understands this generation, Generation Y, Generation Z, and the end of the tail end of the Gen Xers better than anyone on the planet. But you know what? At the end of the day, you have a choice to be responsible for your decisions that you make and to act responsibly on your own behalf and not be a crybaby all the time. Okay? I'm not responsible for all the mistakes of all the parents, including myself. I'm responsible for my kids. I screwed up in several ways, I'm sure. And all their instructors and all their friends and all of society has had to pay for it in some way, shape, or form. Okay? I'm not getting political. I'm just saying. But in this case, it was our fault. The reason that Bring Dinner Home did not make a lot of money, it took us a long time to figure this out, right? And Dr. Stephen Hollings and I, we had a talk about this maybe, it wasn't much more than like 2 years ago. And he started this company in 2001, early in 2001. I came in at the tail end of 2001 and, through the next year or whatever, till we closed doors. All right. This was it was 2001. So in 2001, internet service was primarily dial-up. Well, Stephen Hollings had a really fancy digital camera. Man, it was awesome. It took the best picture the most beautiful photos I'd ever seen. And I'd done a lot of food photography. My former partner, Barry Furseth, and I, when we had Bella Bay Seafoods, man, it took hours to take a single picture because you didn't know what it was going to look like. You had to stage it. And then you took a Polaroid. And then you looked at the Polaroid. Wow, what do we just lighting? What do we do? And then you had to take 50 different shots of that dish. And you still didn't know if it was going to turn out because it was on film. Well, with this, it was very quick. But it was also a very large file. It was a very large image. Very large by the standards of the 2001 internet service data rates, right? Thanks, Wendy, for passing on a message to your friend Thatcher about my show. Woo, thank you. Anyway, internet service on dial-up. Remember how long it used to take for a single picture to load? You remember that? I do. Oh, my God, it took forever. Well, our website was Stevens, bringdinnerhome.com. It was very, very high density. I mean, it had so many images on there. It was ridiculous, right? So, because each dish had this beautiful photo that showed the exact presentation you were supposed to put on the plate for your family. Actually, it was really gorgeous. And, well, on dial-up, it was really slow. So even though you could order anytime during the day, all the way up until 11 o'clock at night, most people waited till, you guessed it, 10:40 to try and order. So what happened is they would time out eventually. They couldn't get their order in, and you were just ordering for the next day. But we had this bottleneck. Everybody wanted to order late at night before they went to bed because they didn't have time. They're busy doing this, family, work. So late at night, they would all order, and nobody could get through. Nobody get the photos to download. So what did they do? They picked up the phone and they called me. Hey, Chef Patrick. Oh, yeah, I know. You're in production. Hey, this is what we want. I'm like, why can't you do it online? Because we can't get the pictures to load. So that little bit, or that lack of foresight on our part, really was detrimental to the business. So, live and learn. It was a great concept, though. The cool thing about that business model, bouncing the chair here. Stephen Hollingshead is a brilliant man. This guy is actually he discovered an algorithm to trace even small values of laundered money anywhere in the banking world. I know a couple of years ago I remember we spoke about this at length. We were talking about he was getting the funding together to do a test, a couple $100,000 here, $50,000 there, so that they could watch this model and see where the red flags came up and not these false positives, the false red flags, right? Brilliant mind. But we didn't have the foresight, either of us, to think about maybe putting a lower resolution picture up, or maybe just not making it. Look, it's pizza. Do you need a picture of pizza? No. It was brilliant, though. A couple of things about it. It was very customizable. So if you order a pizza, we did pizza every Thursday and Friday. I think it was Thursday and Friday. We did not make orders on Sunday and Saturday. We didn't work the weekends. I went in at typically 10 at night, and then the shift was officially done at 7 in the morning when we'd loaded the trucks. But sometimes there was additional, like I'd do the orders, receive the produce for that day, do some prep for the next day based on what we knew we needed. And that was all fine. The menu rotated. There were like 265 entrees that rotated, 4 available each day. 2 gourmet, 2 mid-level, macaroni grill style dining, right? Macaroni, good food. Phil Romano, he's local. Still has Eatsies here. I need to go by there. Man, Eatsies. We'll talk about that next time. Anyway, and then you had like the family track, right? The family track was like a lasagna for 4, or it had pizza. Then we had other like spaghetti and meat sauce, right? Oh my God. Stephen Hollingshead, still to this day, the best bolognese sauce, even in and outside of Italy, best bolognese sauce, hands down, I've ever had. Hands down. Really, really good. So back to what I was saying. We didn't have the foresight to plan for the photos, but the food was amazing. What was really cool about the pizza is we made the dough, we made the crust, right, and we par-baked it, and then we put the sauce and the cheese on, and then we packaged it, and that was it. We sent the toppings separate. So if little Jimmy wants, he's brave, he wants black olives, but little Sally over here doesn't want black olives, but she wants, I don't know, pickles. I don't know. Maybe she wants tomatoes, but Jimmy doesn't like them. We would send all of those. They would say, like, they were sold as a quarter of the pizza, right? It's enough for 2 slices. So you would have 1 order of olives would be enough for a quarter of a pizza. So if you wanted enough for a whole pizza, you had to order 4 orders of olives. You'd say, how many people in your family like olives, black olives, and it prompted you through the whole thing. It was brilliant. But what was really cool is now you get all right, I get excited about this one. You get the ingredients at home, right? Now it becomes, it's interactive for the family. So little Jimmy, was Jimmy, I said before. I know it's Sally. I don't remember. Maybe it was Jimmy. Maybe it's Johnny. I don't remember. But Jimmy, he gets to put his olives on his, you draw a little line in the pizza. This is your 4th, Jimmy. So just put the olives on your portion. And he throws one over on Sally's anyway. Then Sally puts tomatoes on. She throws one over on Jimmy's anyway. And then Mom would have anchovies and, artichoke hearts, whatever they wanted. But it was really cool because you got these ingredients, the toppings. Who cares about putting the sauce and the cheese on, right? Everybody gets that. You want to put your own topping on. The stuff only you want. And I know families would all order separate stuff just so they could put their toppings on. Because they'd have like 19 toppings for a family of 4. So Stephen Hollingshead started this business, bringdinnerhome.com. You can look it up. The domain's not there anymore. He still owns it. It's not active. He was running on his own server. This guy was so smart. He hired someone to build his own, the recipe database, which, I always use Chefworks. Not Chefworks. It's Chef Tech, right? It works with all of your main vendors. It works with all your point of sale service systems. He had one built for like a fraction of the cost. Instead of $12,000, I think it was $1,200 to have it built because he knew exactly what he wanted. He mapped it out, and the guy said, "Okay, 3 days. Here you go." Brilliant. So they placed the order. It scaled it all up. It it grabbed all the orders, condensed them into one big batch, cooking, one batch order for cooking, and then later broke it back out again into packaging orders. It was brilliant. Brilliant, man. But what was even more brilliant than that is it was not expensive. Steven, I'll call you out. Steven has like 12 kids. I'm not joking. He always wanted enough for a football team. Literally. So they have a large family. His lovely wife, Jan, can still run like a sub 6-minute mile. At least it's a sub 7. Steven's like 2 or 3 years younger than I am. So, she's got to be mid 40s. That's crazy. I haven't run a sub 6-minute mile since high school. No, literally high school. Anyway, he wanted to do, and this was not a judgment on McDonald's, but the way he explained it to me is he wanted to undo the way that McDonald's had turned dining into feeding. Dining used to be something special. You rarely went out. You almost always ate at home. Matter of fact, Ronaldinho, since he's over there and I can bug him now for 1 second, I can capture him. Oh, it's okay. You can just say thumbs up or thumbs down. Ron, did you go out to dinner much as a kid? You don't have to answer. Yes or no. Just thumbs up, thumbs down.
What's the question?
Did you eat out much as a child with your family?
All the time.
Did you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
My mom didn't cook.
I guess because we were, I say we were poor. We lived in the country, so there was nowhere to go. I mean.
Oh, we lived in a town that had plenty of places to eat. But, yeah, my mom or my dad didn't cook. So, of course, I don't cook. Now, my mother-in-law cooks for me now.
She's a hell of a good cook, man. I tell you, I'm over here snacking on a protein bar and a piece of, I'm like a tangerine. I'm like, damn, Ron, what's that today? Hey, what is that? Can I heat it for you? I'll heat it. No, I'll heat it in the microwave for you. 5 minutes? Yeah, I'll be right back. A couple bites missing. No, I mean, he comes in with like salmon and, she'll make like chopped steak, smothered in gravy. Man, it looks delicious. Every day is something different. But anyway, we did not eat out much. Rarely ate out as a child. And I know that actually, as I got older and as my, my family got older, I dined out more. I just did. As I became a young man, went to college, so on and so forth, I dined out more. But again, the fast food industry had turned dining, which was a special experience for the most part. And even though, Ron says they dined out almost all the time, but it was still an experience, right? It was a meal period. You sat down, you ate, you communicated, you spoke. McDonald's and not just McDonald's, a lot of other restaurants changed that, right? They changed it dramatically. Think about it. You go anywhere in the country on almost any street corner, and you could get the same burger and fries you got 487 miles away on another street corner in another town. That's the first time in history you could do that. Gatorade full of chemicals. Oh, Douglas. Pat, I'm sorry, but, I needed something. I was tired of water. I needed something. Ooh, that sounds good. Ice cream blended with pineapple, coconut juice, and bananas. Ooh, that sounds like a good smoothie. All right, back to the thing at hand. The topic at hand. It had become feeding at that point, not dining. And so many people ate out because, A, it was less expensive in many cases than shopping. If you go to these food deserts, you go to less affluent areas, demographic areas in the country, or geographic areas, they'll have nothing but, fast food, maybe a convenience store, but there are no real grocery stores, right? So children live their whole lives only knowing convenience food, either fast food or convenience food. That's it, literally. And I'm not knocking grocery chains. It's a fact. It is an unfortunate statistic in the United States. And I'm not getting political. I'm just telling you, I've done the research. All right. I spent a lot of time working outside of DC in the Bowie area, from there all the way up into to Baltimore and up into Mass. You see it all, especially in these large cities, right outside of large cities. You see it all the time. And there's a no man's land, and so they didn't have access to fresh food, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit on a regular basis. You eat fast food. That's what you do because it's cheap. It's calorically dense, right? And it's easily accessible. So what he wanted to do is turn that back over to the family. You didn't have to be a gourmet cook to make this food. There was a really detailed instruction, sheet that told you how to make every recipe. And the great thing was, it was really detailed, but it was like 5 steps. It really was. The only way that we made our money, because each portion was pretty cheap, pretty inexpensive when you think about it. We ran like a 40%, 35% food cost, but we charged a flat fee for delivery. It was like $7, I think. $7 for the first meal, flat fee, and then like $1 per meal after that. But really, that was the profit. So it needed to be a very large clientele base in order for us to make money. And, unfortunately, with the slow data rates on the dial-up stuff, we just never grow that. We didn't grow that big, but it was a fantastic idea. The food was excellent. Steven's a genius, way ahead of his time. Anyway, bringdinnerhome.com. Someday I will revive that with Steven's blessing and maybe his help. He's good at fundraising. So anyway, by the way, if you want to support him or learn more about Stephen Hollingshead, I think it's the Nazarene Project. Is that what it is? I'll have to look it up. He works with the Rasmussen Foundation, which is the former premier of Denmark. They're basically working with displaced Kurds and other Iraqis that have no way to be identified, right? They have no birth records. They have there's no social security number. They can't bank. So they can't have a job. They can't get paid because they can't do anything with it if you give them a check. So he's working on this new system of identifying people. Basically, once they're put in a database, then they use a full frontal hand recognition software, scanning software, that identifies you on like 37 points or 537. I don't know how many points, but they identify you, and now you can bank anywhere in the world. It's fantastic. He's a brilliant man, very good gentleman. Stephen Hollingshead, God bless you. Give me a call when you get back in town. All right, so how do you feed nowadays a larger family? Let's see. You don't go to Carrabba's. Or Johnny Carino's, that's for sure. As good as the food is, it's expensive, right? So what do you do? Well, you shop and cook at home. That's the least expensive way to feed a family. And it's not cheap. It's still a lot of food. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to read these notes. All right. Kinsey, I'm sorry. It's taken me a long time to get there. You actually sent this like a week or two ago. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow on occasion. So let's go to notifications. Yes, I know. I'm slow. I got to get to. All right. It's different on the phone and on the app and all right. It's different. So I have to go one way or the other. All right. Here's what Kinsey had to say. All right. Oh, come on. Older. There we go. So, dear Chef Patrick, that's not there. Said, this was actually sent to Spoony Radio. I was hoping you can point me in the right direction on 2 particular topics, and hopefully it'll give you show ideas if you haven't covered them already. 1, personal shopping tips. I have a household of 6 currently and spend close to $300 a week. That's $50 a person. That's not super high. I've seen higher, but that's a lot of money. Apparently, so-and-so, other household member, thinks that that's excessive, and I want to know the fastest way to shrink that without starving. And then I can also buy more Mojo and Spoony stuff. Yes! Hey, by the way, if you go to our website, spoony.com, there is a store that has merchandise, T-shirts, hats, aprons. There's all sorts of fun stuff in there with the Spoony logo. I don't even own one. I need to get my ass on the website and buy something. I do. That's ridiculous. It's my brainchild. I might not have named it officially, but it's still my brainchild. I don't own any of that stuff. Man, I gotta get that going. So to answer question 1, we kind of have to look at question 2. So freezer-friendly meals. I want to expand my own menu. So far, I focus on 1 town meals to freeze. Okay. I don't know what that means. one pot meals to freeze, and I want a better variety. Okay, anyway, limited selection at this point, and make sure that my diet is more balanced. This is what I do This is what I do to use the. Okay, I don't know what. Okay, all right. The sentence is confusing, but basically, this is what I do to lighten the load each week. It beats McDonald's, and that's correct. Yeah, absolutely. You know, the food at McDonald's may be tasty to some, but it's really not nutritional. I thought this topic can help from two different directions. Convince, reduce waste, and then reduce waste on several fronts, but also reduce your waste in consumption of or loss of leftovers. So here's one of the things. Pre-plan your meals. Number one effective way to reduce your cost is to pre-plan your meals, which it sounds like you're doing. Substitute chicken, poultry, pork for beef. It's almost always cheaper. Almost always. And if you're going to buy beef that needs to be stewed or cooked for a long time, right? So like the beef tips or stew beef, little chunks. It always have a little piece of what we call sinew or silver skin on it. That silver skin or the connective tissue or whatever happens to be on there, it's typically a very I don't know if it's protein dense. I'm going to assume it's protein, but that covering tissue, that connective tissue, first tightens up when you cook it, and it takes a long time for it to break down. A long time. That's why it's cheap, because nobody wants to deal with it. That's why it's called stew meat. Now, some of that stew meat in there might be really good filet, 10% of it, 15%. It's just a mix. But soups and stews, they can be very nutritional. I'm answering all your questions together. The two questions are kind of combined. So one-pot meals are much more effective, much more inexpensive. So soups, stews, chilies, they're also nutritionally dense, right? You can have a minestrone soup that could have 16 different vegetables in it. It's easy. So zucchini, your zucchini, yellow squash, onion, tomato, chickpea, whatever you want to put in there, chickpeas. And then pasta for filling. That that kind of fills out the volume, right? Increases the density, the caloric density of the product, and it's cheaper to feed the family. Now, not every meal, but for dinner, right? And now, if you're buying lunch meats and things like that, deli meats are expensive. It doesn't matter if you buy the cheap stuff or the expensive stuff; it's still kind of expensive when you think about the cost per meal. So maybe get away from the sandwiches. Maybe pre-cooked chicken breasts, and then make a little bit extra of whatever your starch is every day. So if you're gonna make mashed potatoes, and you're gonna make enough for 4, make enough for 8, right? Or maybe you make enough for 8 because everybody eats 2 servings. Make enough for 12. That way, now you can use as a base. That's your starch. You put in some roasted chicken. Like I on Sunday evenings used to bake like 8 chicken breasts. Just olive oil, salt, pepper, paprika, little garlic powder, onion powder. Bake it in the oven at 375 to 400. When it's done, it's done. Let it cool. Bag them up in two per bag. Put them in the fridge. I have chicken for the week. That also ensures that you use it, because if it's there and you have nothing else to use, there you go. Now, what do you do with it? Slice it up, dice it up, use it in pasta. Slice it up, dice it up, use it in soup. Dice it up, use it in chicken salad. Celery, onion, a little mayonnaise, mustard. Well, yes, mayonnaise, not salad dressing. Get away from the salad dressing thing. Miracle Whip just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. I'm not judging. It's just not for me. Mayonnaise. Duke's, by the way, not Hellman's. Duke's is, Hellman's is okay. I can have, but Duke's is the best. It's really rich and creamy. All right. But yeah, so anything you can do to decrease your time is going to increase your efficiency and typically reduce your cost. So I hope I helped a little. There's some more things I can tell you. We'll go through them a little bit. But remember, soups, stews, they all freeze really well. Pasta sauces. When you make pasta sauce, make spaghetti sauce, make a double batch, freeze some. You don't have to cook it later. You can buy the 2-pound, chub of, it's called a chub, yes. The 2-pound chub of ground beef instead of the 1 pound. It's cheaper. All right. Double it up. Make extra rice. You have food for lunches. You don't have to worry about making sandwiches. No more deli meats, all right? I'm not a big proponent of, shouldn't eat this, it's going to kill you. But really, deli meats, I know the jury's out still because you need some of that stuff to keep you healthy. But really, cured meats, just don't eat more than your weight per year. Chef Patrick Mosher, Food Biz Pro. Thank you. Ciao for now. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're